8th Spring Semester Energy Project, Hydroelectricity, by Casey Reeves and Rachel Fadlovich.
Hydropower has been used since the beginnings of civilizations. Ancient peoples used water to push water wheels which ground flour and performed other tasks. The technology went fairly undeveloped until the mid-1770s, when Bernard Forest de Bellador published his ideas on a hydropower dam. Along with the Industrial Revolution in the late 19th century, electrical generation could be used in dams. In 1882, the first hydroelectric power plant, Vulcan Street Plant, opened. By 1886, 45 different hydroelectric power plants were operating in North America, and by 1920, 40% of U.S. power was hydroelectric. Dams are now all over, operating in more and lesser developed countries, where they help supply infrastructure and jobs to the people.
Interesting hydroelectricity facts. Hydroelectricity makes up for about 16% of electricity generated worldwide, about 3% in the U.S. The first house to run on hydropower was made in 1878 in Northumberland, England. The U.S. now has more than 2,000 hydroelectric power plants, which account for 49% of the country's renewable electricity. The Bonneville Lock Dam in Washington, along the Columbia River, was the first hydroelectric power plant to implement a fish hatchery. The Tennessee Valley Authority and the Bonneville Power Administration are a few of the first big federally owned corporations. How is hydroelectricity produced? First, a dam is constructed onto a river. To do this, the river must be diverted away from its normal flow while the dam is being built. Once the riverbed is no longer full of water, the foundation is made stronger and cracks are filled in. Concrete and other materials are used to build the dam. Once the dam is operating, large turbines are spun by the water. Coils on the ends of the turbines produce energy when passing by stationary coils. Electricity is then transported through power lines and power stations, and finally into our homes and businesses. Generated with hydropower. Since hydroelectricity does not require the burning of anything, not much chemical waste is generated, although methane can build up in the dam, eventually releasing into the atmosphere. Hydropower can still have very adverse effects on ecosystems, though. Thermal pollution can occur on either side of the dam due to changes in the water's flow and wastewater coming from the plant. If a dam is to break, the reservoir behind the dam comes cascading down onto the floodplain, which often causes many casualties. Sediment accumulates upriver of the dam since the water is slowed down, and fewer sediments downstream means more erosion. One of the most devastating effects of dams is their harm to wildlife, such as fish, who are unable to get past the dams to breed. Powerful dams. Some of the most powerful dams are the Itaipu Dam in South America, operating since 1984, which produces 14,000 megawatts with all of its turbines. The relatively new Three Gorges Dam, located in China, can produce 22,500 megawatts. This dam started operating in 2008, although some people do not believe that this dam has truly helped China, as it is causing many adverse effects on the wildlife. Probably the most impressive dam is the Grand Inga Dam, a proposed dam for the Nile River. Although this dam would sufficiently decrease the Nile's flow, it could produce an astonishing 39,000 megawatts. Hydropower in Washington. The Grand Coulee Dam is located along the Columbia River. It is the largest electrical power producing facility in the United States. It was constructed from the time of 1933 until 1942. Unfortunately, the dam had negative effects on the local Native American population who relied on fish for food and income. The Bonneville Lock Dam is also located along the Columbia, just 40 miles east of Portland. This dam was completed in 1937. This dam features fish ladders to help fish migrate upstream to spawn. Unfortunately, this dam also had a negative effect on the local population of natives, as it did still decrease the populations of fish. Hydropower has very many benefits, especially when it is being compared to other types of energy production, such as coal burning. Hydropower uses water, which is considered a semi-renewable resource. Therefore, it will not run out after a few years of our usage. Installing dams can help to recharge underwater aquifers, which supply our agricultural and drinking water. The dams can help to prevent floods
and they require very little maintenance once the dam has been built, since the water is what is pushing the turbines. Since the lake that occurs when a river is dammed can be used for recreational areas, they generate funds to whomever has built the dam. Hydropower is not burning anything, so it does not discharge any harmful pollutants into the atmosphere. Some energy sources aren't very efficient, but not hydropower, which boasts up to 90% efficiency.
There are still many disadvantages to hydroelectricity. Since the water upstream of the dam slows down, sediments drop off, thus causing erosion downstream. Dams hold back floods, so there is no fertile floodplain to provide nutrient-rich soils to crops in the valley. Dams require a combination of different factors, so there is a limited number of feasible sites, and hydropower will never be able to provide energy for the whole world. Hydroelectricity relies on the presence of water, so if a drought occurs, there is no more power. Adversely, if too much water is built up behind the dam, it can cause the dam to burst, causing much damage downstream. Unfortunately, dams end up harming many fish and blocking their route to spawning grounds. Dams are not cheap and cost much money to build. They are not feasible for everywhere. More interesting facts. Hydropower is the main source of energy for about 30 different countries. In 1881, the Sholkop Power Station near Niagara Falls began to produce electricity. The first hydropower plant was named the Vulcan Street Plant and generated about 12.5 kilowatts. Hydroelectricity is the least expensive renewable energy source in the U.S. There are many different types of hydroelectricity generation dams. In a pump storage dam, water is stored in a reservoir behind the dam and then released whenever someone feels the time is right. Then it is run through channels and pushed past the turbines where it generates the electricity. A conventional dam works the same way, except for there are no reservoirs. A water wheel is a wheel that picks up river water and generates small amounts of electricity. This is a mostly ineffective technique and is very outdated. Runoff river dams, which are small dams that act similar to large ones, except they are built off of the river's main course. They do reduce environmental impact, but they also make the dams less effective. A new technology is a tidal turbine. They are spun when the high tides of oceans reach them. There are also some underwater current methods being introduced. As you can see, hydroelectricity is a great source of energy that people all over the world today use. It can supply a lot of our energy, although, since we need water for other things, it cannot be our solitary source of energy. Hydropower does have adverse effects, but when it is combined with technologies like the fish ladders at Bonneville Dam, we can reap the benefits of hydropower. Hydroelectricity is one of the many uses of water. Water supplies our life, and it can also supply our energy.